A major tech company's AI hiring tool was literally discriminating against women, and they had no idea until it was too late. But here's the scary part. This isn't just one company.
Wait, what? How is that even possible? But AI is supposed to remove bias, not create it. That's the whole promise, the entire allure of these systems.
Welcome to Monarch's AI Cast, where we discuss various topics relating to organizational health, leadership, and workplace wellness. Whether you're an HR professional using AI tools, a job seeker wondering why you keep getting rejected, or a leader making hiring decisions, stick around to the end.
And honestly, the potential for AI and HR is still so immense. I mean, imagine the efficiency, the speed, the ability to sift through millions of applications instantly. It can streamline processes, make things, well, better. We just need to figure out these initial bumps, right? It feels like we're maybe focusing on the anomalies rather than the vast potential here.
Oh, I think we're going to learn about a lot more than just initial bumps today. You're going to learn the 5 hidden ways AI is creating bias in hiring that could be costing you the best candidates, why major companies got sued for their revolutionary hiring tech, and the exact strategies to make AI hiring actually fair.
Okay, got sued sounds a bit dramatic, doesn't it? Perhaps these are just growing pains for an evolving technology that ultimately brings so much, efficiency and objectivity to the table. I still hold that AI's primary function is to enhance, not harm, the hiring process, if it's done right.
Well, if you're in HR, you'll discover what legal landmines you need to avoid. If you're job hunting, you'll understand why that perfect application got rejected. Trust me, by the end of this deep dive, you'll never look at AI hiring the same way again. We're going to pull back the curtain on why this isn't just like a few isolated incidents, but a really pervasive issue. Okay, let's unpack this. There was this prominent AI recruitment tool adopted by hundreds, literally hundreds of companies, and he was found to favor certain facial expressions, speaking styles, even uh, tones of voice. The shocking part, it was actively disadvantaging minority candidates, not because of their qualifications, but because of these totally arbitrary, culturally specific metrics.
But again, this sounds like a problem with the design or maybe the implementation of one specific tool, not really a fundamental indictment of AI itself. Surely an algorithm, by its very nature, it's designed to be impartial, right? To remove the messy human element. Humans are riddled with unconscious biases, confirmation bias, affinity bias. AI is supposed to be the antidote to that, isn't it?
That's a compelling argument. But here's where it gets really interesting, and frankly, quite unsettling. The source material makes it crystal clear this isn't just a few bad apples or, isolated glitches. It explicitly states these examples highlight a growing concern that AI can often reinforce and amplify existing inequalities rather than get rid of them. Consider the major e-commerce company that had to scrap its AI recruitment tool entirely because it consistently downgraded applications that even included the word women's. Like, seriously. It had learned that successful past hires were predominantly male, so it penalized anything that deviated from that historical pattern. That's not just an early kink. It suggests these systems can deeply entrench historical discrimination.
Okay, I acknowledge those specific cases are problematic, definitely. But if the goal is to remove human bias, which is undeniably very real and pervasive, then AI, even with these early challenges, still holds that promise. These examples, alarming as they are, still sound like training data issues more than inherent, like unfixable flaws within the AI's core logic. It suggests a need for better calibration, maybe better data, not just throwing the whole idea out.
Well, let's dive into exactly how this happens because it's not always as simple as bad data that you can just swap out. It's far more complex and kind of embedded in the very fabric of how these systems learn. So the first way AI creates bias is right at the start. Bias in training data. This is maybe the most obvious one. If the data used to teach the AI is skewed, the AI inevitably learns and replicates those biases. Like that major e-commerce company's AI tool we mentioned. It was trained on over 10 years of mostly male-dominated resumes. So what do you think happened? It learned to filter for male attributes, penalizing anything that didn't fit that historical mold. It's like teaching a kid from a biased textbook and then expecting him to form an unbiased worldview. It just doesn't work.
But that's an easy fix, isn't it? Well, maybe not easy, but straightforward. Just feed it better data, diversify the input, make sure it reflects a broader demographic. It's not really the AI's fault, is it? It's the data we give it. We just need to be more mindful about the input, the raw material. It's a solvable problem through conscious data curation. Okay, but it's not always just about what data, but who the data represents, or perhaps perhaps, doesn't represent enough. The second type is flawed data sampling. This happens when the training data isn't truly representative, often overrepresenting certain dominant groups, frequently white men, and underrepresenting marginalized candidates. And what's fascinating, or maybe alarming here, is that facial analysis technologies, for example, have demonstrably higher error rates for racialized individuals, especially racialized women, simply because they are significantly underrepresented in the vast data sets used to train these systems.
Wait, what? That's a staggering implication. So if you're a racialized woman, an AI might literally struggle to even see you correctly in a hiring scenario. That's not just a preference bias, that's a fundamental recognition problem. It suggests the system can't even accurately process your image or characteristics, let alone fairly assess your qualifications. To me, that feels far more dangerous and foundational than just skewed resumes. It questions the very foundational integrity of the technology. This next one gets particularly insidious. Bias in feature selection. This is where the AI might prioritize attributes that, on the surface seem neutral but actually perpetuate inequality. Imagine an AI disproportionately valuing graduates from prestigious universities, which, let's be honest, have historically been attended by people from privileged backgrounds, often lacking socioeconomic diversity. Or prioritizing specific work experiences that are just more common among certain demographics. It's not about overt discrimination. It's about these subtle, sneaky proxies.
But aren't those often legitimate indicators of capability or maybe a strong work ethic? It's not like the AI wants to discriminate. AI is just looking for patterns that correlate with success in a role based on past performance data. A candidate from a top-tier university might legitimately be a stronger candidate on average, right? Given the rigor of those programs.
Oh, no, of course not. The black box AI is completely neutral. It just happens to coincidentally pick candidates from the same elite schools or neighborhoods over and over again.
Right.
The problem is compounded when the features selected are proxies for protected characteristics, like zip code, which we know can be strongly related to race and socioeconomic status due to historical housing segregation. It's not about what the AI wants, it's about what it learns and prioritizes based on biased historical data, and that's incredibly difficult to unbake. To me, this feature selection bias is one of the most hidden and dangerous forms, precisely because it looks so innocuous on the surface. It's a silent perpetuator of systemic inequity. That's a mic drop moment right there.
What's interesting here, though, is that while training data bias might seem like the easiest to fix by simply diversifying inputs, the feature selection bias and flawed data sampling are much more nuanced because they involve how the AI interprets and prioritizes that data. It's not just the quantity or diversity, but the inherent structure of the information and how it's weighted that creates these biases. It suggests the solution isn't just more data, but maybe smarter data and smarter feature engineering. And this brings us neatly to the fourth type: lack of transparency. This is where it gets really murky. Many AI systems are effectively black boxes. Their decision-making processes are opaque, sometimes even to the developers who built them. Both that major e-commerce company and the prominent hiring tool that faced a federal complaint struggled significantly to understand how their systems assessed candidates and why certain groups were being excluded. There was simply no clear audit trail or explainability behind the algorithmic decisions. You just get an output.
So what did this all mean then? Companies are making critical hiring decisions based on algorithms they don't even understand themselves. That sounds less like unbiased and much more like unaccountable. How can you possibly defend a hiring decision in court, or even internally, if you literally don't know why the AI made it? It makes the entire process incredibly risky, placing a company at immense legal and ethical vulnerability. It's essentially offloading accountability to an inscrutable algorithm. And finally, number 5, a big one: lack of human oversight. Just over-reliance on AI without adequate human review. This can lead to unchecked biases festering and amplifying over time. What's really concerning is when hiring professionals start to trust the AI more than their own judgment, believing the technology's infallibility simply because it's AI. It's a sort of illusion of objectivity.
But hang on, humans are biased too. Massively so. And AI is supposed to augment, not replace, human decision-making. If used correctly, it can free up HR for more meaningful tasks, like candidate engagement or strategic talent planning, stuff humans are actually good at. The sheer volume of applications for some roles is simply unmanageable without automation. We'd be back to sifting through piles and piles of resumes by hand, introducing all the human biases we hope to avoid in the first place. We need to find a balance, surely, not reject the technology outright because of these issues.
But is augmenting really enough when these biases are so deeply ingrained in the algorithms themselves, as we've just spent time discussing? If the AI is inherently flawed in these 5 ways, from biased data to insidious feature selection, what exactly is human oversight supposed to fix when the core problem might be in the code itself? Is human oversight really the solution, or is it just a patch? Do we need stricter AI regulation and industry standards to ensure these systems are fair from the ground up? It feels like we're relying on a Band-Aid for a potentially systemic wound.
Well, I think human oversight is absolutely crucial, but it also means we need to educate those humans properly. It's not just about having a human click approve. It's not about rejecting AI, but about using it wisely and ethically. Regulation is one piece of the puzzle, yes, but practical, informed human engagement and critical thinking from the users are perhaps even more vital day to day. We can't just throw out such a powerful tool because of its early, frankly predictable growing pains. The focus should be on how to leverage its strengths while meticulously guarding against its weaknesses through active, informed human intervention.
Okay, so if these are the pervasive problems that exist right now, what are the solutions? What should organizations listening, and job seekers too, what should they take away from this?
Well, the sources point to several key strategies. First, and maybe most foundational, is to diversify the training data. Seems obvious, but it needs doing. This means actively including data from diverse racial, ethnic, gender, socioeconomic, and educational backgrounds, ensuring it truly mirrors the target population's success pathways, not just their historical demographics. Second, conduct regular, rigorous bias audits. Don't just set it and forget it. You have to examine the AI's outputs, its decision-making processes, and crucially, its actual impact on different demographic groups over time.
Audits are great in theory, but are companies actually doing them effectively? Or just, ticking a box? How much transparency do these black box companies actually offer in an audit anyway? It feels like we're asking companies to police themselves on a technology they barely understand, often with proprietary algorithms they're very reluctant to expose. That's a significant practical hurdle, wouldn't you say? Like, who does the auditing and how?
That raises a really important question about accountability and enforcement. But we also need to implement fairness-aware algorithm software specifically designed to consider and mitigate bias during its operation. These aren't just about better data, but about developing algorithms that are inherently more aware of potential biases and actively work to correct for them. And critically, organizations must increase transparency, seek out AI solutions that actually offer insight into their algorithms, and clearly disclose AI use to candidates. It's about building trust and showing a commitment to fair hiring.
But what about the human element? After all this talk about algorithms and data and black boxes, it sounds like we're kind of coming full circle here. Do we really just trust the tech, even fairness-aware tech, or do we absolutely need more human involvement in the actual decision-making loop?
Exactly. The final and arguably most crucial strategy is maintaining robust human oversight. Real oversight, not just rubber stamping. Managers and leaders must actively review AI-driven decisions, especially the final hiring choices. The research consistently highlights the critical role of informed human oversight in safeguarding against AI risks. It's not about letting AI run wild, it's about blending the efficiency of AI with the ethical judgment and, frankly, the nuanced understanding that only humans can bring. It's got to be a partnership, not a replacement.
So what does this all mean for you, the job seeker, who just got rejected from that perfect role you applied for? It means your application might have been filtered out not because of your qualifications, your skills, or your experience, but because of a biased algorithm. An algorithm that maybe preferred someone from a different zip code, or didn't like that you attended a women's college, or whose facial expressions weren't deemed ideal by some faulty, biased system. It's a really stark reminder that the game might be rigged in ways you can't even see, which is incredibly frustrating and, yeah, disheartening.
And for HR professionals listening, it means you're potentially dealing with serious legal landmines if your shiny, revolutionary tech is actually discriminating. You need to demand transparency from vendors. You need to ensure rigorous oversight internally. Knowledge is most valuable when understood and applied. And in this case, applying that knowledge means actively combating bias to ensure you're actually hiring the best, most diverse talent, and not just the candidates the AI prefers based on outdated bias patterns. The cost of inaction here isn't just ethical, it's also profoundly legal and could really damage your reputation.
Thanks for listening to Monarch's AI Cast. For more insights on leadership and organizational health, visit leadwithmonarch.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share this deep dive with your team. Until next time, keep leading with purpose.